about this the other day. Men and women have different problems in society. Okay, I acknowledge that. And I think at one point it would be okay to acknowledge that because men and women are different. Now, I've talked about this in the past. When you're a kid, people say, oh, boys are smarter than girls are smarter than boys. Okay, here's the truth. There are probably more women who are on average slightly smarter than men. If you look at the IQ, there's a way the bell curve works. However, men occupy, because we are extreme creatures, we're extremist beasts by nature, they occupy both ends of the bell curve. So even if there are more smart women, let's say on average, than men, at a certain point, there are only male geniuses, statistically. At a certain point, though, on the flip side, there are only male repeat violent offenders. Okay, that's the problem that we usually have with males in society. The problems that we have with women, the problem that most women are dealing with, and I think this is why conservative women have such a disconnect, because we have 3-4 women who are working out here now. I know they wouldn't relate to this. Feminism appealed to the idea with women that you should never have to experience discomfort. That's how you end up with abortion up to 5.5 weeks. They say, well, are you against my choice? No, hold on a second. I'm pro-choice. Abstinence, contraception, motherhood, adoption. What do they say? Well, I hope you never have to put up a baby for adoption. That's a really tough choice. I'm not saying that it's a comfortable choice, but you did make a choice to have sex, assuming it's not rape or incest, which in nearly every case it's not. Now you have a choice to give up the baby for adoption as opposed to terminating that life. The only reason that you think that's wrong is because there's this assumption that you are entitled to not be uncomfortable in any capacity. Same thing with women getting the right to vote. Well, women got the right to vote, but you didn't have to be drafted. Why? Well, you shouldn't have to experience any discomfort. You had sex, you had a one-night stand, you weren't responsible enough to use a Plan B pill, you weren't responsible enough to use contraception. You should be able to have an abortion. Why? Because you shouldn't have to experience the discomfort of a baby. And so what you see is women have been promised, they have been catered to, they have been pandered to, and it's insulting. Women, you let me know. Comment below if you find it insulting that you shouldn't possibly have to deal with discomfort. We see this in relationships. 80%. The lowest number you'll find is 76. The number I believe from, I don't know if it was NIH, I don't know if it was the CDC. Number of divorces in this country right now, 80% are filed by women. Okay? Domestic abuse has gone down. Cheating has gone down. Over 70% of women listed as their primary reason for divorce a lack of commitment on the man's part. We have no-fault divorce laws, which means it's always the primary earner's fault. And usually that's the male. So you shouldn't have to experience slight discomfort if you go and read on feminist blogs. Type in right now, run a Google, run a Bing. If you're on a public library, that old bent back paperclip who pops up to tell you how to spell words correctly.
Ask Jeeves.
Yes, you can ask Jeeves. Run a search, feminist blogs, women filing for divorce, and they will consider this a win. It's women today are far less likely to remain in unhappy relationships. Well, we do. You think that men aren't going through a private hell, women, sometimes in marriage? Sometimes you make our life difficult. But statistically, men don't walk nearly as much as women because we have never been promised the right to not experiencing discomfort. That has never been a right, a promise, even a notion afforded to men. And so women file 80% of divorces and they walk because they don't like the relationship and I shouldn't be uncomfortable in this relationship. It's the same issue that we're dealing with abortion. And on the flip side, let's look at Black Americans. This is a really good kind of petri dish. Okay. What do you have if you listen to Black Americans? They say, what are the primary problems with young men? Gang violence, drugs. Not all Black Americans. It is a disproportionate problem, though, in specifically impoverished Black neighborhoods. Okay? Women, baby mamas who don't work, who are on the welfare dole. So in one example, it's you shouldn't have to be uncomfortable, so live off of the government teat for the rest of your life. In the other, it's men, you are promised nothing, so do whatever it takes. Start selling drugs, join a gang, because it's sink or swim on your own. This is the primary divide that we see between men and women. Men have never been promised the idea that you will never experience discomfort. That is, if you look at any feminine issue, anyone, take a pick one, abortion, take free tampons. You shouldn't have to go through this discomfort of purchasing your own tampons. You shouldn't have to go through the discomfort, whatever it is. That's a problem. And it's been used to buy your votes, and it's harmed women. And you know what? You can scream until you're blue in the face and say, "Yeah, well, we need to reconcile what's happened in the past, and we need to make sure that there's justice today for women in the past who didn't have as many rights." Well, okay, you know what? Just don't expect to get married because 40-something% of young men don't want to get married because they see it as an inequitable distribution. That's it. You've got a choice to make. Women are less happy than ever. They do less work around the house, fewer household chores than ever because it's been more automated. They're making more money than ever, and they are less happy than ever statistically because they will never catch that dragon they are chasing of a life completely devoid of discomfort. There you go. That's the end of my... Sorry.
I wish my Roomba loved me.
Your Roomba does.